Welcome back, you guys, and there are certain NBA players whose impact truly doesn't resonate in their per game averages or in the box score. When you look at some of these players who aren't putting up all-star numbers, they do other stuff that helps their team win, or they grade out well in deeper stat categories that aren't shown in a basic box score. Let's talk about 5 NBA players that I think are better than what their stats may indicate. As always, definitely subscribe if you have not already to keep up with the NBA videos I will be putting out, and if you think I should have added a different player in the video, or if you disagree with one of my picks, don't hesitate to drop a comment, and let's go into the first player. First on the list, we have Steven Adams. If you look at his basic per game numbers, you might say he's putting up some solid stats and shooting at a great percentage, but it does not tell the full story of his impact on Oklahoma City's offense and defense. If you check his total defensive rebounds, he's ranked 32nd in the league out of all centers. He has 236 of them, and he's behind guys like John Henson, Kyle O'Quinn, and even Dirk in defensive rebounds. I think we'd all safely say Adams is a better rebounder than those players, and he's not high in the defensive rebounding stats because in OKC's system, Adams is boxing out 1 or 2 guys, and it allows Westbrook or somebody else to immediately put pressure on the defense as soon as they grab the ball. Check this out. The NBA rolled out some new stats for the public to see, and one of those new stats is total box outs and box outs per game. As of February 21st, Adams was leading the league in total box outs by over 100. The next closest was Enes Kanter. At 7 feet tall, 255 pounds, Adams uses his body to just move guys out of the way to create an advantage for OKC in the screen game or in the rebounding game. If you want to check another interesting stat to show his impact in the screen game, he's currently 2nd in the league in screen assists per game behind Rudy Gobert. He gets 5 of those per game. Adams is probably one of the best role players you could have on a championship team. He is cool with being in the background doing all the dirty work. If he really wanted to, Adams could chase those rebounding numbers and be up there with DeAndre Jordan and Andre Drummond. He's that good at securing rebounding position and bringing down the rebound. I think people are aware of how good Adams is, but his basic per game numbers don't tell the full story of his impact as a screener and rebounder. If you check Marcus Smart's shooting percentages this year and his shooting percentages in his career, you can see that he's not someone who's going to really hurt you from the outside. He has shot below 30% from the three-point line in the past 3 seasons and hasn't had a shooting season above 40% once. There will be some games where Marcus Smart somehow turns into Ray Allen at the three-point line, but generally, he is a really bad shooter and teams will gladly leave him open to load up on Kyrie and cut off his driving angles. But Marcus Smart's impact on Boston is felt on the other side of the floor. It wasn't a coincidence that Boston's defense collapsed when he was out with an injury about 3 weeks ago. They gave up 120 points in back-to-back games in February. Boston really missed his minutes. He is so impactful, and in my opinion, he's a bit more important than Horford for the Celtics defense. He's 230 pounds and has a 6'9" wingspan, and he uses that to create deflections and defend multiple positions. So I just talked about how Steven Adams is leading the league in box outs. Well, Marcus is one of the best guards at boxing out, maybe even the best. I've seen him box out centers and forwards. In that game against the Rockets, he had a nice seal on Clint Capella. It's really cliche, but Marcus does the little things and can make winning plays that aren't seen in the box score. I talked about his shooting issues, but he does other stuff on offense like grab offensive rebounds, and to say another cliche, he is a leader on the floor. Smart is pretty vocal on the court. On another note, what do you guys think of Marcus Smart's free agency this summer? It's going to be interesting because I wonder how much he's going to get. I definitely think Boston should re-sign him, but it just depends on the price. Next, we have Joe Ingles, who's averaging 11 points per game, 4 assists, 4 rebounds on the Utah Jazz. He is also 2nd in three-point percentage. Besides the elite three-point shooting, there's nothing that really jumps out at you. He's a lot better than what those basic stats say. At 6'8", 225 pounds, Joe's defense is pretty underrated, and if you remember last year's playoff series between the Jazz and the Clippers, you might remember his lockdown defense on JJ Redick. Redick is super fast coming around screens, and Ingles shut that down for most of the time. Gobert is the reason why they are a top 5 defense, but Ingles is no slouch. His ability to defend multiple positions is part of the reason why they're so great on that side of the floor. This quote from Rudy Gobert describes Ingles perfectly. When he asks for the ball, he can score. Ingles is not limited to just spot up threes. He can score off a pick and roll or make the correct read to find the open man. Ingles is similar to other NBA players that do not care about their personal accolades. If he was on a team where he had to create more in the pick and roll, I think he'd be up there in the 6 assists per game range. Those 4 assists per game he's averaging now really undersells his passing ability. Like Steven Adams, Joe is what I call a championship type role player, somebody that is very unselfish and has no ego. Every contending team needs a guy like that. Let's go into number 4, another Thunder player. Andre Roberson is the definition of a player whose impact isn't felt when you check his per game averages. The averages are pretty forgettable for a guy who plays 27 minutes per game. He is not somebody who's going to hurt you from the three-point line or even the foul line. But enough about the offense. Andre Roberson earned his 3-year, $30 million contract because of his all-NBA defense. It's too bad he got injured because OKC was rolling with him, and now they need him more than ever going into the postseason. Westbrook put it best about Roberson's impact in an interview in February. People outside our building, people across the world, always complained about the things Andre didn't do instead of embracing all the things he did do. Westbrook is on the money here. That's a great quote, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm half guilty of doing what Russ is saying. I was fully aware of Andre's defensive impact, but I definitely talked about his flaws more than his strengths as a player. There's not many guys in the league who have the strengths Roberson has as a perimeter defender and a cutter. Before his injury, the Thunder had a defensive rating of 96.6 with him on the floor, which is amazing. It would be the best defensive team in the league. Without Andre, their defensive rating shoots up to a 114.5, which is really bad. And since his injury, OKC has fallen out of the top 5 on defense. It is crazy to think that one guy means so much to a team's defense, but it's true. It's unfortunate because he was well on his way to an all-defensive first-team selection. Now on to the last player on the list. You know, I tried really hard not to put an NBA All-Star in this video, but it would feel wrong not having Draymond Green in this video. He has stats that somewhat pop out at you, to me at least. He's averaging 11 points per game, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, with a block and steal. That block and steal does not tell how good of a defender he is. He has been the leader of one of the best defensive teams in the NBA for the past 4 seasons. You don't become great on defense as a 6'7" power forward without being one of the smartest players on the floor. He's not the fastest or strongest guy. His best trait as a defender is that he literally knows the offensive play before it starts to develop. Draymond's IQ on defense is what helps him when he's defending 1 through 5 every night and creating havoc in the passing lanes. Some NBA centers that are close to 7 feet tall have trouble defending the rim, and at 6'7", Draymond does it at an elite level. He seems to always have perfect timing when he jumps and will either force an extremely tough shot or get the block. When he's not blocking shots, he's calling out the other team's plays for the other 4 Warriors to pick up on. If someone misses an assignment, Draymond is there to pick it up, or he'll be forcing double teams to create extra pressure and get that turnover. Let me know if I'm reaching here with Draymond because he was selected to an all-star team, but I do think Draymond fits this category perfectly. It's incredible how good he is at his height. The 7 assists per game definitely shows he can pass and he can initiate offense, but let me say the cliche again, he does the little things on defense that don't pop up in the box score. I almost had Al Horford on here because he does a lot of stuff that the box score doesn't show, and I almost had Lonzo Ball on here too, but I was on the fence with that pick. I also had some of the Raptors bench on here too, but I'm saving that for a different video. I got inspiration for this video from a real GM thread that I will link in the description if you want to read. It definitely sparked a good conversation that I wanted to add to. I appreciate it if you're still here. Shout out to you for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed even one part of the video, definitely leave a like as it helps my channel grow, and I'll see you guys in my next video.